which is the appreciation for motorsport when we were up there watching, and I was kind of able to sit there with him and go, hey, like, this is what you're watching in F1. This is, you know, so it kind of created a new motorsport fan.
That's what I like about it. Is people have to experience it with other people. It's different. Like, oh, I'm going to turn it on, watch it, and if it's a boring race, it's a boring race. But anyway, so don't touch the mic. We're all set. Mm-hmm. We're all good to go. And this is a very special edition of Nocturnal Combustion. This is, I've told you a little bit about, but this is essentially the origin story of why Camber Caster, the space, got started. We call these the Garage Tales.
Oh my God.
So, disclosure, the names, there won't be any faces, and locations have been altered to protect the non-innocent. Let's be real. What you're about to hear, there's no one innocent other than me and then some of the people I tried to save. And it was a wild February 2024. So I hope you're ready.
I have been waiting for weeks. You have done nothing but bait me along for this, and I am beyond excited to finally get the full tale.
I gave you a little sample during our 24-hour Le Mans party. Just a brief few sentences, which we will read tonight. I have documentation from certain parties. This is not rumor. This is my experience. This is everything that happened to and around me that led up to this. So
this wonderful space
that I've been so honored to bring to so many people. It's been fantastic to watch this community grow. It's a community of motorsports enthusiasts. And from one of the wildest months of my life, it's led to one of the kind of biggest adventures I've decided to take on. So a little bit of the background from there was I was at a different social club that was focused on car storage, social events. They had a few sims. They were never set up properly. Always the wrong FOV. If you have a sim and it's not set up properly, call us. I'll help you out. We all need to be racing, right? But anyway, I had discovered that place, I think either through social media or I think my boss might have even told me at once. I'm like, this sounds fantastic. I didn't know shit like this existed. And so I went and checked it out on their 1 year anniversary party, and they did the whole big open house thing. They were charging, I want to say it was like a $350 deposit to start up. On top of their monthly fee.
There are some other clubs in this area that also charge outrageous numbers. Shall remain unnamed. But
and I get the methodology, and you want people to hold their memberships as long as possible.
Premium experience.
It's a premium experience, and it's an incentive to hold on to your membership longer because you want to make up for what you just paid. But for me, I'm like, well, what am I initiating here? So they happened to waive that fee. So I was like, hell yeah.
Oh, how kind.
I will sign up today. It was a cool space in a cool part of San Diego, huge location. I think it was like 30,000 square feet.
Dang.
So it was like part storage facility, part social club. They had a little mezzanine. There's a great view of the bay. And it was really like you first walk in and you're like, wow, this is awesome. I get to come here. Used it as a co-work space. Used it to meet some of really the best people I've met in later adult life. I think that's one of the reasons creating something like this was so intriguing to me is because as we get older, as you get past college life and into work life, not everyone you work with is a great person to know outside of work.
Amen.
And it gets harder to meet people outside of, bars, clubs,
finding people you
concerts,
passionately
things like that.
Connect with. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's, car meetups, cars and coffees. And sometimes it's easy to talk to people. Sometimes they're like, well, what do you drive? Oh, well, I drive this. Well, you only have the poverty spec 911. I've got the GT3 911. Okay, I get it. You drive a Ranch Camry.
I was going to say, welcome to Rancho Santa Fe.
Yeah, it's funny. I was watching some random clip from Doug DeMuro popped up on my feed, and he was talking about overpriced cars that don't have the impact. And he said the SF90, which was, you know, however much, looked like $150,000 car. $500,000 car looks like $150,000 car. And then you have any overspec'd 911, essentially, that they all look exactly the same. Ubiquitous in Rancho San Diego, which is Rancho Santa Fe, which is where he's from, but kind of on that same aspect. So really great community of people that we met there. And, you know, they were doing events. They were doing, at one point, tried to do a track day, which was going to be my first track day in my F33 series, which I did not care. Completely stock. I threw beefier brake pads on it and said, fuck it, I'm sending it into Chuckwalla. They chose September.
Oh, great. Just the hottest
yeah.
the hottest point of the year in the high desert. That's perfect time for a track.
I was like, I got a decent job. It'll be fine. I won't push it. I'll watch the temperature gauge.
Drive it there and back, huh?
Yeah, that. And that was kind of the start of things starting to slightly unravel. And everything wasn't perfect, you know, as any place. I mean, they were only open for a year, has issues. I've only been open for a year. I still have little things I run into. It's still just me trying to do everything here, but you know, it's an experience and you hopefully, you know, grow from it. And then at some point, things started to kind of die off. Less events, less, you know, social engagements. And it was kind of just, you know, seeing people leave, mod people going, well, what am I paying for if nothing's happening, if nothing's going on? And then there is a sort of open understanding about a rumor about the wife of the owner having relations with one of the employees. And it was one of those things where it wasn't like blatantly obvious, but it was...
The signs were there.
It was obvious. Like they were always sneaking off to have lunch together, sneaking off for a cigarette. There was an incident where they got a booth at SEMA. And you know, I did this. I had an advisor of mine, right, who when I first started this, and he's like, "You got to do SEMA." And I get that the draw to it. And there's a lot of car culture behind it. There's a lot of clout behind it. So, you know, I did the same thing. I had a booth at SEMA. It was a fantastic experience. Personally, for being in motorsports, it wasn't quite right for me. I'll go back as an attendee. I don't know that I'd do a booth again. I'm not a supplier or any of that stuff. But so they did that. But at least when I went, I had a decent booth. I had a backdrop. I had stuff. I had, you know, pop-up displays and all these things. I put some effort into it because it was not fucking cheap.
No.
The booth itself, and I was in main hall. I wasn't on the side one. I was in main hall. It was a 10 by 10. It was a small one.
Still.
But, you know, I go for the podium. What can I say?
Go for gold. I respect it. A for effort. I mean.
So we had found out that they had gone up to SEMA to promote the club with, I kid you not, one of the things SEMA does is they charge you for a carpet. If you don't bring your own flooring, they charge you $1,000 for a carpet because you can't just put it on the ground for whatever reason at the convention center. Rules and regulations. Mm-hmm. There's other shit where you have to have the employees at the convention center take heavy things in. It's a whole union.
Liability.
Vegas, liabilities, things like that. And I get it.
Vegas, baby.
So they showed up with a folding table. And the only thing they pitched money on was the employee who we'll call Kiffin.
Okay.
He made a cardboard cutout of himself holding a QR code, and that was their promotion. And some flyers and stuff. That was it. That's all they took. And they're also, no, they weren't in main hall. They were on the outside, but that's all they took to SEMA.
Was he at least tall, tan, and handsome?
He's Tall, dark, and some sort of adjective. We'll get to that because there's a metamorphosis that happens at some point in this story. So, this is kind of when the rumors started to swirl, and he was up there with we'll call her Lana, and they had separate hotel rooms, and he was sharing a hotel room with another employee that was kind of got mixed up in this whole thing, and they were kind of sneaking off, and the employee that he shared the room with later down the road, I'll kind of jump around a bit, it'll all make sense, but told us that at some point at night he kind of dipped out, disappeared, didn't know where he went, and came back in the morning. It turns out, and we found this through other people who had found this out. We have a great group of friends there who noticed things, and one in particular who asks the hard questions. He's an interesting character, one of the most interesting car collections I've ever seen. It's all really eclectic shit. He has a Mitsubishi Bravo, 2 Mitsubishi Pajeros, supposedly accidentally ordered or accidentally bid on 2 because he was importing them, and he didn't think he was going to get one, so he got the other one, but then he also got the second one. So 2 Pajeros, Honda Beat, a turbo LS Humvee, a 435i that he dumped ungodly amounts of money in to make as fast, or if not faster, than an M4. He was telling me the numbers on it. He was all constantly blowing drive axles on the thing. Anyway, interesting character, but he's always the button pusher.
What a side quest of a collection.
Very expansive.
Yes.
But he's always the one that would push the buttons and just no filter, ask the questions. And it's one of those things where you either love it or you hate it, or you're kind of not anywhere in between. You definitely run people the wrong way. So I'm pretty sure it was him who discovered that they had come back with matching tattoos. Now, mind you, this is the wife. This is the wife of the owner of, we'll call it the garage. And now, I don't know about you. You're married.
Yes.
I have a long-time partner. And if either of our partners came back on a work trip with matching tattoos of a coworker, there would be fucking questions.
I would take some issue.
Right.
I'd have a few questions.
Right. So not only that, where do you think these tattoos were? Someplace inconspicuous, someplace easy to hide.
I mean, I'd pray below the belt, but at this point, I can only imagine this has to be on like a wrist.
It was knuckle tattoos on 2 people who weren't heavily tattooed.
Knuckle tattoos.
But the funny part is they were tiny. I'll get back into what they are. I'm blanking what they are. I know supposedly one said Head Games. Yeah, that was what it was. This became a running joke at the club. Is supposedly they both said "risk more" on their knuckles. In like a real fine line, tiny thing where if you just saw it, it would look like, some little specks on their knuckles, but you look closely, it says "risk more." And that's what they came back from.
Cheat higher.
That's what they came back from SEMA with, was "risk more." So that was kind of
go for gold, I guess.
That was kind of the start. And, the owner, we'll call him Mason, wasn't really around. I think I met him once, and then he kind of disappeared. We never really saw him. He was there. So eventually it became, the wife, Lana, and the employee, Kiffin, who were kind of running the place. And then there was some other employees there who got me to sign up. Were fantastic people. One guy was in marketing, worked in Hollywood for a long time, was kind of the one that did all the events there. And people had mixed opinions on him, but he was a nice enough guy, but he was the one kind of propping up everything there. And so they ended up getting pushed out, and it was just the gruesome twosome going at it. And I kid you not, there's an upper office. And come to find out later, as we go into the story, there was a black leather couch up there. So appropriately, so many things just fell into place. Anyway.
How casting couch of them?
Yeah. Hindsight, there's probably many areas that a lot of us regret interacting with, because it's a very nice, well done place. They spent a ton of money on furniture. That was one of the biggest problems with this spot, was the exorbitant amount of money they spent on things that weren't necessary for what's a car club full of car people who don't give a shit about mid-century modern. Right?
Yeah, I'm not here for the accoutrement. I mean, it's not.
It looked nice. It looked
enough.
It was Instagrammable, but like, did we honestly really care that it was actually legit mid-century modern, or that it was a
real leather
$20,000 couch?
Jeez,
that guys that were working on their cars were sitting on. Disrespected.
There's nothing like getting oil and hydraulic fluid on a $20,000 couch.
Yeah.
I heard differential and coolant fluid are fabulous for that type of leather.
It was wild.
Notoriously.
So, yeah, I'd been there. It was kind of, I think it was like August of 23. So then this is getting into January 24, and people are leaving. We're trying to figure out what's going on. I'd offered to help a couple of times. Like, hey, I've been an event planner. I used to book shows for different venues and things like that. Like, you guys need any help? Like we love this place. We want to see it survive.
Because at this point, signs are, the pulse is slowing.
Yeah.
Not really many people joining, just people leaving.
Yeah, and people leaving, things aren't happening.
You said less events.
Yeah, and obviously we notice the interaction between the gruesome twosome. And so at one point, I was working remotely, and I started using that as my remote workspace, because I had this thing that I'm paying money for. I'm going to go and use it. Yeah. Also, get out of the house. Like, we've got a co-work space here, and I know it's great to be able to work at home, but you got to have that separation of work and home life, because if you're working at home, where the fuck do you relax? Because then suddenly you're just in that same environment, and
your micro prison cell.
Yeah, the dirty work air is now in your home. Gotta go to bring it here. We have an HVAC system, so it sucks all the fucking work drama out of it sometimes. So I'd gone up there one day they had attempted to do a workplace Wednesday, and it was trying to entice people to come and use it as a co-work space. It was like me, one other guy that consistently use it. And so they said, we're gonna have free pastries. I'm like, well, I'm here anyway. I'll come early and have the free pastries. But I'll also use an opportunity to talk to Lana about the state of things and offer help if they wanted it. Free help at that point. Just say, hey, I can take on a couple things, maybe guide you guys in the right direction. We want to see this thing.
I do this professionally. I can maybe steer you. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of us on our side were in the same grades. Like, there was a core group of us that were really close, and we wanted to see this thing, stick it out. Some people, it also had like lifts, and had a detail bay. It had like a big cyclic photo wall thing. You want to come and do?
It's big money.
It was. It
lifts
really,
aren't cheap.
No. Well, and then they did it mostly right. I've seen other storage places that just flat store, and you have to go vertically.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Little business 101 here. You have to look at every inch of the space, especially when you're renting, right? So they didn't own this building. It was a huge building in San Diego, right near downtown. So you have to look at every inch of space in a 3-dimension and go, how is this making me money, or how is it not making? So they did good on doing vertical lifts. They didn't go 3 high. They just did 1 high.
4 posts.
Yeah, 4 post lifts. So that was all there, and it was cool. At first, some really amazing cars, but you kind of see the same cars all the time, so you want the events back. So anyway, gets back to the thing. So I go there on Workplace Wednesday, and I was going to go talk to Lana about helping out, and she wasn't there because she was off on another trip with Kiffin. They were all constantly going on trips. That was the other thing too. There's some dirty ass laundry here, financially speaking, but they'd always go on work trips together to try and do the garage, cars, and coffee at like other locations throughout the country. They did one in Portland, but there were excuses for them to go travel. together.
But how does that make business in San Diego? Like,
look, they are
this
not
magically going to generate money from another stratosphere.
They are definitely not business people.
No,
that
much is obvious.
They had gotten a lot of cash from my understanding of a previous business venture that was, from my understanding, allegedly acquired by not so ethical means.
Interesting.
I don't know if we'll touch upon it. I won't get into it
for a later date.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep this is all, everything we're talking about today happened to me, around me, or because of me. So it's not like, oh, I heard this from so-and-so, I heard this from so-and-so. This is direct from the horse's mouth. Horse spelled with a W. I kid. She was a lovely woman. Still is. She's still alive. No, she was fine. I had some good conversations with her. She was a very flirtatious woman. He was not just Kiffin. It was a bunch of us who she would, give us the eyeballs. There was a couple of guys who had been up there for, they had like some mixer events and stuff who'd relate some stories. They're like, yeah, I could have gone down that road several times. But so she wasn't there, so I couldn't present, my offer. But Mason had happened to be there, and no one's seen this guy in months, right? He's the owner, but he's absentee. We have no idea what's going on. And sad part is they had two kids, two young children are all wrapped up into this. And I don't feel for any of the adults in this situation, but the children, it's unfortunate. It really is. And you get to see children wrapped up in this thing. So, I feel for that. But so he shows up, and I go and talk to him like, hey man, everyone's unhappy. Everyone's leaving. Like, what's going on? Like, how can we help? And at this point they were supposed to have an RWB build at the facility. Like someone locally had supplied a 911, and they put in the deposit, and Nikai-san was supposed to come in and do an RWB build on his car. And it was all, lined up to be done at the garage. But that got canceled by the Gruesome Twosome for some other event for a big shoe manufacturer to shoot some sports promos there for a sports team that they were sponsoring. So they kind of weighed that out, the money coming in from that to having an RWB build at a car culture space, which apparently was a dream of his. And that was it. That was the other things that triggered. We found out about that, so we asked about that. And
that's just tragic.
It is because we all were able to see it live and in person, and it would have been cool. But that was a dream of his, and that kind of set him off. So he kind of takes me to the back, and I kid you not, he started confirming all of our suspicions that yes, she had been cheating on him with Kiffin this whole time, right? He started breaking down, crying on me. I'm turning 42 years old this year. I had a grown fucking man, owner of this business, cry on me. I comforted him, right? At this point, I feel for the guy. I really did. And that led me into having a lot of sympathy for his situation, which later, maybe he was being genuine. Maybe it's just the pathological manipulation that he has. But yeah, I felt for the guy. And so that day we were supposed to, or he was supposed to have a meeting with Mitsubishi Bravo, because he's a financial guy, right? And he was supposed to talk about some of the finances and all this stuff, and that'll come into play. But he kind of took me and him and like 3 other people, and all of a sudden packed us up into this meeting, into the upstairs office, which none of us have really been in before unless we're doing business there, and kind of, again, unloaded everything. And we all were like, dude, we feel for you. We're here to help you. You're not alone. Like, we gave this guy so much sympathy and so much empathy to save his business because he'd built something that we all became part of. And so that kind of kicked off my involvement in the garage, where, you know, everyone had full-time jobs. I had a full-time job during this, but I also was working remote. I had the ability to clock out, dive into that. And I ended up becoming the COO of the garage.
Quite the promotion, Jeff.
It was. My previous job was as an art director for an apparel manufacturing company. It's screen printing, embroidery, promo products. We worked for a lot of big brands. I basically ran their entire art department, which was the funnel in which all work went into that business, to the tune of around $14 million in sales in 1 year, in right around that level. So handling volume like that made doing what I was about to do at the garage so fucking easy. It's just doing it, right? It's just being smarter, working efficiently. So I went in, and I'm just making sure it was recording. We had an incident. We're good though. I went in, and, you know, we had a big game plan. We had told him not to fire anybody yet. Like, let's get our ducks in a row. This is chess, not checkers. Let's figure everything out, and then we'll let you worry about how to deal with them.
Put the fires out one at a time.
Yeah. Kind of, hey, let's build a platform before we set it on fire.
Yeah.
But no, he immediately fired everybody except for 2 employees. Like, the 2 employees that had nothing to do with it. Great people. I'm still friends with both of them. I raced with one of them. They kind of got thrown into this, you know, meat grinder of an experience.
How can anyone be ready for any of this, though? Truly,
wait till you hear their salaries, and you'll understand why. So I go in, and that was sign number 1 that this guy was unstable. Was he fired everybody except, so now it was literally just me. Another former member had decided to come back. I'm not exactly sure how that all played out, but he was back in play. And
you were unpaid at this point, correct, by them?
At this time, no one was paid.
Yeah.
He'd fired the HR woman who we ended up having to bring back because she was the only one who understood any of the accounting, quote unquote, that was going on.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be just me, Mason, and the other 2 guys kind of running a ship lean and getting everything back up to where it needed to be, getting everything on track. And then we could start figuring out other things. And then so, I'm blanking on his name, but anyway, the former member, we'll call him Frisco. He's from San Francisco, Bay Area-ish. So Frisco came in, and he was gung-ho. You know, came with a lot of leadership experience. He ran fraternities before, so he had a lot of that, you know, event, team building kind of stuff going on. He was very eager, and you know, it was my first time meeting him. So anyone new coming in, I was, you know, kind of trying to play him out and see what their play was, but also making sure it was right. And he was a pretty good fit. And then so I was like, okay, well, that's good. No more people. And then one of the women who was working on this shoe corporation sport promo thing, it was Nike.
Schmikey.
Yeah. She was like a production assistant or something, and he had met her in the course of, you know, after all the firings, that event was still going on. So this was probably...
Get that bag.
Yeah, it was probably within a few days. Now, mind you, this is February 1st that this all kind of went down. Or a little bit before, so end of January.
Clock starts now.
February 1st is right when I came on officially. And so then he brings her. I'm like, dude, you can't keep doing this. Like, we can't keep bringing more people. And that was more of the unhinged, unpredictable behaviors that would keep going on. And so now there's, you know, the 2 guys downstairs, the 3 of us upstairs plus him. So there's 6 people now that are part of the salary. And so no one knew any of the bank accounts. No one knew any of the payment things. We had to bring back, I'm blanking on her name too. Now the accountant. So we brought back the accountant, and I had to pitch her to come back because he'd fired her too. They'd known her for a long time. So that was a lot of convincing that, hey, we're going to put this thing back on the right path, and we're going to make it better. We're going to make this worth your time. And she put a lot of trust in me because I'm no bullshit, man. I'm from San Diego, but I got fucking East Coast mentality. I don't fuck around. I tell you how it is, and sometimes you like it. Most people can deal with it, but if it doesn't rub you the right way, then there's probably something wrong with you. I'm kidding. Everyone's special. So we brought her back, and so now there's all these people who are subbing on salary. So first question is, as COO, what do the books look like? I was told coming to this thing, breaking even. So I look at breaking even as I can work with that. That means all the bills are covered. That means all the salaries are covered. That means the insurance is being paid. That means the rent is being paid.
I feel like when people say, oh yeah, that's never a good sign. Hey, generally that means you're already on a sinking ship, but
you never know. I give them the benefit of the doubt because it had been operating for a year. So I'm like, okay, they're paying the clubhouse manager, who's basically his whole job was just to clean up, make sure people are happy, take care of things in the club, kind of just the day-to-day stuff, $70,000 a year.
Oh.
And then the kid who essentially, he did some of the photography, he was supposed to do some of the social media, but for the most part, he would help move the storage cars in and out. Some people come pick up their car, he'd go pick it up for them, get the keys, take care of it. Important job when you're running a storage facility, but also being paid $70,000 a year.
I wish I could have gotten in on this grift when I was 19 years old. Good gracious. This is, a dream scenario for a young enthusiast.
Absolutely huge grift.
That's wonderful. I love this.
So, I'm catching wind of this, and then
more jealous than anything.
Yeah. But it was always, I'll get the numbers for you. I'll get the numbers for you. I'll get the numbers for you. So he was refusing it, and he'd get kind of angry about it. It's like a telltale sign, right? If you're accusing someone of something and they're getting angry about it, chances are they fucking did it. Yeah. They're fucking did it. There's a few people in society right now that are getting really angry about some accusations. They fucking did it. We'll let you figure that one out.
For sure did it, but yeah.
So then the accountant pulled up everything, got it together. At this point, I discovered what they were paying in rent at this location. So they were paying $35,000 a month to rent this space, right? So you would think, okay, how much are they pulling in revenue, knowing that they had currently two $70,000 salaries? And prior, I think between the wife, her sister, her brother, the boyfriend, and a mix of other people, all six-figure salaries. Yeah, come to find out after kind of getting more information down the road, you would think that they'd at least be able to cover some of this stuff. No, maybe some months. The month that I came in, now this is the revenue from January to cover February, was $22,000. Now doesn't cover salaries. It doesn't even cover rent. It doesn't cover insurance. It doesn't cover utilities. It doesn't cover internet. It doesn't cover any little expenditures you have of running a business like that. $22,000. Rent $35,000.
They'll give anyone a line of credit these days, won't they?
Well, I don't know I don't know exactly the line of credit. There's definitely some maxed out credit cards. There was definitely some utility bills. The decision was made to not pay rent that month, but not even to discuss it with the landlord. Just don't do it. Now, see, I come from poor stock, so we pay our bills. Turns out rich people are kind of cool with not paying bills because they've got money lying around. They'll figure it out. I understand it now as a business owner. I understand, making moves, playing the game. You got to play the game. If you play nice, play legal, but sometimes you got to play the game. So that was happening. They had lapsed on their insurance. So there was at least a month that I was there that every car was not covered. Now, people's investments, some worth 6 figures plus, were not covered. And so it was like red flag number one, but I still persisted, right? He hands out 70K salaries to the new girl from Nike, Frisco, the accountant. Now at this point, I'm like, where the fuck is this money coming from? And so me having a full-time job, now none of these people had jobs. Nobody there other than me had an income. And so I said, don't worry about my salary. We'll take care of me later. Take care of these people who don't have jobs. My rent's covered. My bills are covered. Theirs is not. So if it comes down to you're not paying rent to cover this, cover them, right? I'm fine. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And so that's all happening. And it's just wild. So we're trying to game plan, right? Now this is the frustrating part is we'd come up with a plan. Like we're going to bring back events, bring back exposure. We're going to do all this stuff. And they had their monthly happy hours. I knew a lot of people there, and we kind of announced I was coming in to kind of help run the place. People were excited. I had a good rapport with everybody. They saw stability there. Now, at this point, he's starting to scheme. And it was never actual plans. It was just like the scheme of the day, the scheme of the day, the scheme of the day. We had fucking plans. I would work a full-time fucking job, clock out of that job, and then I would be there till sometimes midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, working with these people, coming up with ideas and strategies and all
any way to generate revenue in any shape, way, or form.
Anything. But
just
also,
to try and cover rent, good God.
Yeah. Also, while trying to not expose all our hands, right? Like you want to have everything look like it's, working well, it's copacetic. So that way, if there is investment possibilities or anyone is interested, like they see, okay, this is working just fine. There's no issue there.
Don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, that's a stained curtain just hiding behind. Lots of stains in that place.
Mystery stains. Lots of mystery stains.
Some of them not a mystery. So then he's trying to come up with all these plans, and part of it was now they're getting a divorce. So that plays into it because he's trying to now figure out how to keep her from attaining some of the value of the business through the divorce. Now the business at this point is at least off of what I'd seen hovering around $40,000 to $60,000 under each month, everything put together. Hemorrhaging money. Now, come to find out, they had started daycare, preschool, something like that before, and they built a few of them and they'd sold them off. So they had this, big wad of cash in order to do something. And he was kind of a car guy. He helped start Cars and Coffee down there with another buddy of his, and that guy kind of helped get it up and running and built it out. And then he got pushed out, and then it turned into like sort of the wife's vision of the mid-century modern kind of bougie deal. And it was, again, beautiful. Show it off on your Instagram. You could do events and stuff in there. And we were trying to book events. We're trying to book big events. We had like a big pharmaceutical convention that was happening in San Diego that we had online. It was going to be a big source of income. And me, from my event planner background, was trying to help keep this thing going. So where was I with this? So we're talking about the schemes. Okay. So yeah, they had the daycare, child care thing, which told to me, this is the one rumor I had, is he kind of got this idea from a little old lady. He was a bank person and denied her loan, and then took that idea and got his own loan for it and started this concept. Again, unverified. I've had a few people tell me this story. I'm not going to say it's true or not. I can only say everything I saw with my own two eyes is true. So apparently they had all this money, bought a crazy house in a really nice part of town. Like I think at the time they paid like $1.5 million for it. And then to show the stupidity of these people, they had through the divorce, then needed to sell the house, right? Because they needed funds. And so part of all these ideas was he was going to sell off his collection of cars. They were going to sell the house. He was going to take his share of the house and put it into the company. So right after I'd found out about the state of the finances, I go to man to man, friend to friend. I'm like, dude, I don't know if you don't know these numbers. I gave him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't know these numbers because he wasn't there for months. Maybe the wife and the boyfriend are hiding it from him, right?
And they'd cooked it out. Yeah,
they could, right? He could not have any idea. He's an absentee owner, but quite possible.
I mean, as long as the card doesn't decline, right? Swipey swipe, you know.
Yeah, you just get another card. Oh, that card didn't work. Try this card. Try that.
Try the other Amex.
Try that one. So I go to him and I go, hey man, like, I don't know if you understand how dire this situation is, but unless you have significant cash flow, like right now, like this place is not going to survive. He fucking flips out on me, gets in my face. Now he's not a big guy. At this point, he's malnourished and granted mentally unstable. And he gets in my face like he's going to fucking hit me. Now, a little bit of background on me. There are a few parts in San Diego that are unchanged over the years. Every place is gentrified or gotten better, produced multi-million-dollar homes. I grew up in a part called Encanto. It has not changed. It was a poor community. It still is a poor community. And it's still, you know, if you don't know people, you ain't walking around at fucking night. You aren't. It's on the trolley line. It is fucking hood. And that's how I grew up, right? And I've gotten my ass beat. I've beaten people's ass, but I don't take shit, right? And you don't know that. I mean, you look at me as like an artist, musician. I do this thing. Like, I don't present an intimidating figure unless you push me into it. And so we had another guy come in, right? Who ended up becoming friends with. He came in as a consultant. He'd served as a consultant with them before, but he again was volunteering his time. Again, we're all looking at bigger picture, right? If we can make this thing work, there's opportunity for us to basically have jobs.
Maybe long run, you can also get the $70,000 silly guy salary.
I want COO salary. I got that 6-figure income coming. So I see
if
that.
I can just turn it around.
Yeah. Well, I see that and I see the opportunity there. So I'm like, you know what?
No, it's a good, the idea was there if it was not executed.
And low risk for me because I still had a job.
Yeah. Well, you're the only one with a real income.
I was the only one.
Actually having a real check come into your bank account every month.
Yeah. So, so he gets in my face and I had to just be real fucking calm, because it's like he had these anger things. I think later find out he might have had some bipolar, some anger issues or something like that. But accused me of like trying to sabotage the business. Now I'm putting in fucking hours at this place
for free
and not telling everybody what's going on. And there's a little incident later on where it's really insane that he accused me of this. So when he gets in my face, I'm like, I'm not telling anybody anything. I'm telling you as the owner whose name is on everything what the fuck is going on, because apparently you didn't know what the fuck was going on. So that was incident number 1 between me and him. And yet we persist. So a lot of late nights at his new apartment. So he moves out and he has to get an apartment right now. You look at yourself in a financial situation like that, and what do? You get yourself an affordable apartment, right? Getting divorced, 2 kids.
Negative cash flow.
Massively negative cash flow. You're going to get something cheap, something affordable.
Anything to...
No, you get a luxury apartment in East Village high-rise.
Yeah, sure.
For, I believe it was a studio for $3,000. It was either $3,000 or $4,000 a month.
Either way.
But he's like, well, I got a deal on it. First 3 months or this price, and it goes up to $5,000 or $6,000. But he's locked in on a lease. And so that happens, and we're like, what are you doing? Like there's no funds here.
Why aren't you living in the office at your building? Because that's the only place you should be, is sleeping there. And
it was a nice spot too. The upstairs office was plenty plush. There was plenty of really fucking expensive couch. There was definitely a toilet. There was
a whole kitchen,
2 toilets. There was a whole kitchen. There's a whole bar. There's everything you needed. It's like if
to be a single sad man.
If shit really hit the fan, I'm living here.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I'll rent the studio. Don't worry. We'll block off upstairs. Don't worry.
We'll turn it into something. But so that was like first thing. Like, okay, dude, you do you. But his whole plan as well. I got to look like a rich guy to impress the rich guys. Okay.
In your studio apartment.
But it was a nice one. It was an expensive one. It might have even been closer to like $6,000. It's one of those things where I looked, I'm like, so thinking now $3,000, I'm like, that's kind of average now. Yeah, it was probably closer to $6,000. We'll say $6,000.
Pay $2,150 for a 1-bedroom in Oceanside.
Yeah, this was not that.
Right next to a damn high school.
Yeah. So then he decides, see, I'm going to start remembering things as this goes. I'm trying to go like kind of in chronological order, but there's so
many side quests.
So much. So, you know, the kids are involved, right? So he had this whole plan of, he told me this was giving Kiffin $100,000 a year salary to take care of the kids. Now, Kiffin's a nice enough guy, totally full of shit. I'll learn from that incident and a recent incident. Not a business person whatsoever, but now they have a business. They now have a business that they funneled funds from the garage into their own thing. I'll show it to you later. I'm not gonna put that one out there. That has nothing to do with this story. It has something to do with.
I can't wait to see that. But
a proposition that was given to me under false pretenses.
Inside baseball.
We'll talk about that later. Maybe we'll put it on in a B-side. We'll create a B-side for this.
That'll be on the Patreon, folks.
Yeah, the Patreon, you get the B-side of this. You get names.
Buy a Camber Caster shirt. We'll tell you who it is.
Yeah, it's not hard to figure out. So his whole plan was to pay him a 6-figure salary on the business's dime to take care of the kids, because they were going to move the kids out to Tennessee or whatever, because he wanted to start a music career. Now, this guy came in as a wannabe influencer, not much in the way of business acumen. You know, he was on their YouTube videos and shit like that. But he had aspirations to be the next Post Malone. Because, you know, aim high and shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, shoot for the moon, shoot yourself in the foot. I like that. Because
side quest on this is one of my friends there who he does music production, records and stuff like that. He helped him out to try and record some things. He said it was one of the weirdest, worst experiences of his life. Came into the studio, took his shoes off, absolutely horrendous foot smell.
I know I'm kind of flagrant with the dogs out right now, but I got hygiene.
I would tell you, I would have the mic going outside, and you'd be partaking in this off camera. So that was his thing, and it was like I'm like no, I'm like, dude, you can't do that. And I had a bunch of ultimatums with him because he told me how much he needed me there.
Negative cash flow.
Yeah. But we built a lot of trust, and I had a lot of experience kind of running bigger projects in that. And, you know, again, I still had a lot of empathy for the guy. And, you know, that was one of the ultimatums. I'm like, dude, if you do that, I am fucking gone.
Even after an attempted assault.
Well, I wouldn't call it an assault. I just got in my face. He's an emotional guy, right? Again, benefit of the doubt. You're going through a divorce. You found out your wife and her boyfriend ran your business into the ground, whether you knew it or not, right? Benefit of the doubt, he didn't fucking know it. So kids are involved. He's emotionally all over the place. And so I'm like,
a shell of a man at this point, yes.
A shell of a human. Whatever. Anyway. So there was a couple things where there's a couple things I stopped from happening because I still had pull at that point to leave. Remember, this is February. This is the end of week 1. This is the end of week 1. February is the shortest month of the year. And keep that in mind, people. Everything you hear today, everything you're hearing today for the first time happened in the month of fucking February. That was it. February 1st to, I don't know if it was a leap year, it's 27th, 29th. It was the 27, 29 days. Total. That has all happened. The other ultimatum I gave him was, we'll call her Nike came in. And he was enamored with her. Just gets a divorce. Found out he was being cheated on, which later we'll touch upon. But at some point he says to me, "Oh, isn't she great with the kids? She would make such a good mom, such a good wife." I'm like, motherfucker, no, bad. I almost hit him with a fucking newspaper. I'm like, dude, if you pursue this woman,
stop dipping your pen in the company ink,
God,
sir.
Didn't you just see what happened with your wife and her boyfriend? So
in your place of
business, and in other places, which we'll discuss. You have a little bit of prior knowledge there. We'll get to that. So I told him no. I'm like, dude, you do that to your mom, I'm fucking out. So luckily, he didn't pursue her. I'm trying to keep this place in fucking order, and it's just constant fucking chaos. So yeah, then he decides he wants to keep the kids. So then he decides, well, he needs a bigger apartment.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, how do you plan to keep 2 children in a studio? Because that doesn't work out.
He worked out a deal where around this time, there was a big flood in San Diego. Really unfortunate situation. Storm drains flooded. A lot of people in low-lying, low-income communities were made homeless because the city did not do their part to maintain those storm drains. But it was a huge flood, but they didn't fucking maintain them. These people lost everything. And I'll give the guy credit. He tried to do good by some of these people. He gave one family a car because they needed a car, or let them use his car because they needed a car. One of the members there lost his home and everything. And that turned into a situation where he could make use of the original apartment by letting him stay there as a show of gratitude, which again, the guy had some generous tendencies. Not a bad person, just bad decisions.
Bad at business.
Bad at business. Eventually kind of a piece of shit at times.
As time goes on, we'll get there. We'll get there.
So he decides he needs a 2-bedroom apartment in the same building.
Oh.
But right below, basically top floor, for $9,000 a month. I could be getting the numbers wrong. I'm trying to remember these numbers.
Irregardless, it's a massive spend.
And $9,000, or it was $3,000 and $6,000.
A ton of money. It doesn't matter when you're.
We'll give them the benefit. We'll say it was $3,000 to $6,000.
When you're 35 grand in the hole.
But either way, it was $9,000. We'll benefit $9,000 a month for 2 places he's paying. Again, the fuck are you doing? But he had this whole game plan. Well, you can oversee the city skyline, and I'm gonna invite all these rich people. And I'm gonna wow them with how well I'm doing. Like, dude, like you don't have any furniture, furniture in this place. But again, big game plan from someone who doesn't know shit about fucking business, right? So that's another thing. I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing this impossible mountain to climb just get bigger and steeper and bigger and steeper, and yet I prevail, and yet I still go. I must be a sadist at some point because I love the fucking pain of it all. But I saw, again, a light at the end of the tunnel, opportunity for me to be involved in automotive, doing something I love with potential, right?
Well, rarely these days, too, is there a way to make money, especially in the automotive aftermarket space or the motorsports space, because there's what's the old adage? How do you make a big fortune in racing? Start with a bigger one.
Yeah.
It's
so as
impossible.
Much as I would love to start with a racing team. We gotta get there. That's why we do sim racing. If you ever want to race,
Camber and Caster,
come race. Do sim racing. It's the most attainable way to get in a race. But that's enough of a plug. Where were we? I kind of got lost there. I'm gonna have some water.
We are at
the apartment, the big apartment.
2 very big apartments.
And no money.
No money coming in. We're 35 grand in the hole for our space. Then we're 10 grand a month, maybe, if not more, on 2 apartments. One that you're giving. I mean, maybe out of the kind, even if he, I mean,
but both leases were under his name.
So no matter what, he's on the hook for an astronaut. Well, how are you getting the credit? Where's the money coming from to convince the idiots in the office that he's got it?
At that point, he must have still had decent enough credit or
does he still? Cash. I guess cash left over from the babysitting business. That's not.
I think there's some still left behind. That
the wife didn't get, or did she? Did she take him? Did she rinse him, or what?
Well,
that's the real question.
Not yet. So anyway, that's all happening. And then so he decides that he wants to have a space where he can have custody of the kids. So he does that. I'm like, fine, okay. You want your kids around? Beautiful. Sure. Go for it, man. So then
Father of the Year.
So thankfully he didn't pay Kiffin the fucking 6-figure salary to take care of his kids. The guy is a fucking idiot anyway. I don't know what he's doing, but who knows?
In childcare.
Yeah. She was a good mother from my understanding. I'm not gonna press her on that. But there's still kids involved. Any divorce is gonna get messy. And they were young. I think they were like 3 and 5. Little kids. It just made me remember another. There's some like post-experience stuff that I have video evidence of, so I can talk about because it's out there. That was fucking wild. Child endangerment much. So anyway, all this is happening, and then we're trying to come up with game plans, and at some point he starts talking about wanting to sell shares, but there's no shares yet. There's nothing to share.
What value of your rented
equity,
space?
Percentages, whatever it was. And
what value are you bringing me in my
potential?
In my open
value
potential value,
which I was promised, I think 2%. Now there's a sale down the road that I never saw part of, but I digress. So part of being involved in automotive culture, there's sort of an understanding that you need a marketing car, right? And so you need something flash and shiny. We see that with, DDE, and we see that with, some of these aftermarket, parts, creators that have Lamborghinis and Ferraris and all these things that they wrap up and, it's right off and fucking rad car, right? So he had a bit of an eccentric taste. He decides that there's this new vehicle coming out that would be the perfect marketing car. That at the time, I think they retailed, or at least the spec he retailed was $95,000 that he got a loan for. What do you think in that, you in that position, maybe even through his eyes, what kind of car are you looking at for $95,000 as a business marketing car?
If I'm a motorsport and car club and
more car culture than motorsport.
Car culture club, but mostly people that are gonna be driving sports cars and supercars
or vintage
cars,
something cool,
something at least. I'd say
it's our chance to talk about cars.
Get you a 911. We talked earlier about it jokingly, but it's like,
well, he kind of had one. He had a green. I think it was like a mid to late 70s.
$90,000. There's so many options about what you could get you a nice G80 M3.
Yeah,
you could get. All manner of.
Yeah,
you could get a lot. There's a lot of car to be had for just under 6 figures.
He had the E92 was the sedan or the.
Yes, correct.
The E92 sedan. He had an M3. It was. Come to find out, in some wild condition after. It looked nice. Registered in Montana.
Come on. Come on.
There was a decent collection of cars.
At least do South Dakota. Come on. Montana's played out.
I know.
Everyone's
the biggest thing, right?
The new thing's Mexico, man. You got to get it registered in Mexico. Morelos, Mexico.
Yeah,
That's the money.
Keep that
in mind,
your playbook. No. He decides that the play is an Ineos Grenadier.
Nothing says car culture like a Dutch-made truck.
On top of the 2 apartments, on top of now we're looking at 4 $70,000 a year salaries. Because he had this whole thing, everyone's going to get paid equal. That's the game we're going to pay.
I didn't know we had Karl Marx in the studio.
Yeah. Communism 101.
The chairman Mao of car clubs.
Yeah, so the owner and the COO will get paid the same as much as the kid moving the cars.
Yeah,
great. Hey,
as God intended.
I love people getting paid what they're worth. So CEO salaries going around these days that are a little bit fucking ridiculous. But
shout out my boy Luigi.
On the record, I can't condone that. Off the record, no comment. Anyway, so Grenadiers, right? So then he decides that Lana needs a car to be able to take the kids around. Because at the time she was driving something that was having issues. I think it was Audi Q5, something like that. Maybe it was a Cayenne. It was some luxury SUV, German made.
And poorly maintained.
So he decides, well, he needs a second one. So he got a second Ineos Grenadier and decided, here you go. She didn't fucking want it. Not at all. So now it's two $95,000 Grenadiers.
Brand new trucks.
Brand new. Yep. Untested. No one knew about it. And okay, I drove one of these things. Look, they look cool. Maybe some of you out there have a Grenadier.
I got to admit, I do even though it is not the car for the car club, I like the way they look, but
they're cool looking, kind of throwback to the old Land Cruisers.
Could be a Defender if you squint from 50 feet.
Defender, yeah. It had cool airplane style toggle switches inside, but it was, I think, a B58 engine.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it is.
And a BMW transmission.
ZF8 speed, baby.
And it was like what was the suspension? It was like Chevy suspension, wasn't it?
I mean, it's just a truck.
It's a truck.
It's not meant to be like...
It's Unibuy fucking from truck.
Also, the company that made it is a petroleum company.
Yeah.
They don't make cars. They make
the guy
oil.
Made it because...
he just likes Defenders. Yeah, and he was like, well, the new Defender is not quite a Defender. So.
Yeah, so he made his own Defender. And I got to drive it a couple of times, and I fucking kid you not, the steering rack on this thing was horrendous to where if you go over 60 miles an hour, it starts to wander. You have to actively hold this thing straight as you go over 60 miles an hour because it wanted to wander like a son of a bitch. So great choice. Great fucking choice.
A real driver's car.
Real driver's car, but great marketing car for your car culture business. The first thing they did was they cut the muffler off. At least they did that. Instant mod on a car
that you leased?
No, finance. Didn't even lease.
Bought it. Oh, yeah. Bought it.
Yeah. Yeah. He thought he was going to make money off of them. How many times have anyone made money off a new fucking car, especially untested platform?
Never. Not even.
He's like, people are going to go nuts from these. And there was a whole thing with having Ineos be like...
Unless it's a Ranch Camry, it's not going up in value.
And there's a whole thing with we're going to sell them out of there. And there's all these...
Oh, we're going to be an Ineos dealer? Look how well that's going for everyone. Sorry, shit.
No
offense, Grenadier owners. I'm sorry.
They're fine. I see them every once in a while. They're still cool looking. Just don't go too fast in them. Maybe they fix the steering rack. I don't know. It's been a year. Who knows? So that happened. And, at some point, so he's got the two Grenadiers. The wife didn't want one. And there was one night where, was it the Grenadiers or the M3? The wife had the M3, the E92. And that's what she was using to take the kids around in. But the thing was, come to find out, of absolute fucking pile. She was apparently started smoking again, so it was full of fucking cigarettes. It had mold in it. It was full of snails. Come to find out, and this is what their kids were riding around in.
Poor children, poor clapped out M3.
Again, I'm trying to keep all the details in here. Tell me if I'm getting too off the rails. But at one point, there was an issue with trying to get the Grenadier back because he'd forced the wife to have the Grenadier. And I was out at a concert and I get a call from Nike. She's drunk, telling me that they're going to go steal the Grenadier back from Lana. And the whole plan was she was going to go take her personal car, which I think was like a Honda CRV or something like that. Leave it in the driveway and then take the Grenadier. Brilliant. In the middle of the night while drunk. Like she was slurring drunk. I'm like, no, I'm currently your fucking boss.
I need to talk you off this ledge.
I'm currently you're telling your boss that you're gonna drinking.
Go commit grand theft.
I'm like, no. And this was based off of Mason's recommendation. That was his plan. And she was gung-ho for it. She had fallen hard for the space. Like she was not a car person, but all of a sudden became like the biggest fan of the garage and was so involved in that project, way too deep. And so she was willing to do anything and committing felonies.
Commit grand theft for the garage.
Was one of those. I was like, fucking no, don't do it. So that was one incident. And mind you, this is week two. We're only halfway through February at this point.
So we got 2 apartments,
2 Grenadiers,
2 apartments, 2 Grenadiers,
4 salaries, 5 salaries. Sorry, 5 salaries,
5 salaries,
and a partridge in a pear tree.
That makes 10.
Yeah. So all that's.
So now our monthly expenditure is, well past 6 figures. So beyond past 6 figures, it's not even funny.
Well, and then this is just the finances, right? We haven't gotten into the game plan. So there's this whole plan to like, they had these golden steering wheels that he had procured from like a junkyard or whatever. And it was decoration, right? Little art pieces on the things. So there's this big idea to sell the gold steering wheels, but it's like this theoretical thing where if you buy a gold steering wheel as you're investing into the business, you get a birthday party or some event, you get access to the space, you get something off of it. So that was the idea to sell the gold steering wheels. We're like, what?
Now we're scheming.
Oh, you ever watch The Office?
Of course.
There's a famous scene where Michael walks in to a meeting. And he goes, I've always wanted to say this. And he said, I've always wanted to say this. I love The Office. Goes on the whiteboard. Everything was on the whiteboard. And it's a big like glass office. So anyone who was on the upstairs mezzanine could see right into all of the financials and everything was on there. He'd turn it around sometimes. But real big on the whiteboard, I declare bankruptcy. That was his big plan of that week, was he's going to declare bankruptcy. Because the other thing too, he's trying to keep all this stuff from the wife. So he's trying to also commit fraud by figuring out how to keep the wife from getting the assets that they had built together. Wild.
Of course.
Wild.
No prenup, no nothing. We're just.
Yeah.
It's going to be a vicious court fight. Great.
Yeah. So then there's the bankruptcy. And then there was like this plan for like all these events and creating more spaces. He was really anti-merch for some reason. Like they had the name of the place was a pretty good name. Come to find out later, they had a decent enough logo, but it turns out they ripped that logo off from another similar space in LA. Go look at the Motor and Coffee logo. Enough said. I've got one of the stickers left in there. Mm-hmm. It's vintage now. I'll sell it to you after this story. Well, I'll sign the last few stickers. I have a couple coins too. I'll sign if this thing blows up, and we'll auction them off for charity. Because fuck that place. I never got paid for this month, so I think it was around $9,000 that I was owed. At the beginning, I said, "Take care of the other people." Never saw it, but that's fine. Learning experience. What I gained was this.
Our wonderful space.
So, God, where was I? Oh, the different schemes and stuff and the bankruptcy. So then everything would always change. So at some point, right after the floods, he had this drive to do charitable stuff. Now we know charity can be good. Charity can also be a scam for businesses to funnel funds into things they are trying to hide, right? But at the time, we all see, okay, as an opportunity to save this business and to save it from the divorce, look at a nonprofit model where we do good for the community. We do it fully above board. And this is us. This is not his scheme. So we took his kind of scheme. We said, okay, how do we make this legit? So we went through the whole process of creating a foundation, full 501c3. I'm still the president of the Garage Foundation. It never disbanded. Legally, it still exists. You have to disband it. I'm still the president. So we do everything by the book, open the bank account. We're like, okay, we've got this plan. You know, we can start doing good for the community and also save our community. We can have like workshops and stuff. We can start helping underprivileged youth and, you know, underserved communities. Us, this is us, not him. He was thinking of a way to get out of paying his wife what was owed to her.
Shout out Girly Garage.
What? Oh, I'm not sure what that had to do. I'm sorry.
501c, she does.
Oh, okay. Yes. Shout out Girly Garage. That's how you do a 501c3. That's how you help a community.
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry.
You're going to have to cut the shit out of that.
No. We'll keep that in. You threw me off. You threw me off because we're talking about controversy. I was like, wait, was there a controversy?
I'm sorry if I got your name wrong, but
Talena.
You're amazing. Thank you.
Talena from Girly Garage. We love Girly Garage. They do some amazing things in the community. That's a legit
501c
charity.
Yeah,
that's how you're supposed to fucking do it. Not trying to save your business from your wife. So, you know, we did all that. That was another scheme. And then, you know, one of the members there I was friends with, his whole business is his whole background is in setting up charities for other businesses, but legitimately. So then after we get this thing set up, I go talk to him like, hey, you know, so what do we have to do here to make sure that we're above board on this thing? You know, he doesn't know that I'm talking to him. I'm doing this out of being, you know, legitimate, trying to be a legitimate business. And so he advises us on that. And I'm basically like, well, this isn't going to work. And for this to be above board, it's basically completely starting another business. It's something I would eventually do here is have some sort of charity aspect. But for me, I think I'd rather find other charities to work with because having the business, but then doing a charity, it's like two whole fucking businesses. You have to report everything. You have to do all these things required by the city, the state, and the Fed in order to do it right because they scrutinize each and every little thing. So anything not done properly, suddenly we're all responsible for as the board members. So we squashed that. I'm like, okay, you know what? We looked at it. We're trying to do everything we can to save this, and that's not going to work. So we closed those bank accounts, cleared everything out, moved on from there. And so this is start of week 3. We're not done with February yet. This is still going. So now we're planning on the pharmaceutical thing. We got all this other stuff going on, but then every day it's a different concept, a different thing that he comes up with. He goes to talk to someone else, some other guy who's got a shit ton of money who he thinks could invest. And he's trying to work with that guy. I'm like, well, I don't know. We have to get things right in front of the right people. Again, I'm looking at the bigger picture. He's looking at the immediate future, which I get, right? I get that.
Negative cash flow.
Yeah.
It's just so much money going out and there's not a lot coming in.
So then the house comes up to play. They had to sell this house.
Okay.
So they originally bought it for $1.5 million. They put in another $1 million.
Oh my God.
Into renovations. Maybe it's $750,000.
Either way, an astronomical figure.
So one of the guys that originally got pulled into that initial meeting is a real estate agent, and he got, you know, lucky enough to be able to sell the property. It's a good chunk of change commission for someone to sell a piece of property like that. So he puts in all this energy and this money, this effort to start staging this thing. And, you know, we go help out and we see that it's fucking gorgeous, right? Beautiful, huge space. And, you know, it goes through the process. They do a showing. They get some potential buyers, but then the inspection comes. And it turns out, they had known this, but apparently there were several support columns that were not actually attached to the foundation.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Parts of this house were floating. from the foundation, like support.
God,
structure.
nothing like white people flipping houses, dude. Nothing like white people flipping houses.
Well, I think they bought it like that.
HGTV this thing.
Well, I think what it was, from my understanding, is that the area it was built on was not the most solid of ground. So it's one of those things that's common in that neighborhood you have to address once it happens. So you'd think, okay, you're going to do some renovations. What are you going to do? Structure, right?
The foundation would be the first thing I'd put my money into.
Literally the foundation.
As someone in the field of construction.
Yeah, you know. And you know, talk about a fucking metaphor.
Don't gotta be a rocket scientist.
There's no foundation on the house. There's no foundation on the marriage. There's no foundation on the business. The floor is going to fall out of
falling out of everything. Actively. Very actively.
Side quest. Found out after I left, because I was still friends with a lot of people there, and I would after I parted ways, I would still get consulted from some of the group that I was working with, and then I'm still friends with the guy that was there the longest, because there's some people who rode it out and sank with the ship until it was, what we'll get to at the end. But at some point, first side quest. After I'd left, apparently there was a leak in the water cooler in the office that's above like the little shop space that everyone ignored. So it leaked through the floor, and it created mold everywhere inside the flooring.
As with a man whose wife is in property restoration, I can tell you that is a expensive and very timely fix. That's not something that just gets turned around. And especially if you're renting, people are going to be, property owners are pretty pissed off.
Well, they did a big build out. So they got the unit it's also a historical space. There's certain things you can't be doing, but they built out the inside. So now, we kind of talked about all the finances, all the stupid decisions. Now we're talking about like, permutation, things they'd installed there that shouldn't have been installed there. I come to find out. So like we said, they had lifts, right? They had 4 posts that the cars were on, totally fine. They had a 2-post that, from my understanding, they said was certified, up in the air if that happened, but they had one of the guys who worked there was a certified mechanic, so he was able to run it. But technically, you weren't legally allowed to have anyone who's not certified to use a 2-post lift put a car on and off a lift. It's dangerous.
Extremely. Yeah.
So that thing wasn't even installed to any sort of legitimacy. It wasn't being run, for the most part, legitimately. They just let people go and use it. And I told them, like, dude, you got a lot of liability here. Like, I know this is a big draw to this place, and a lot of people like it, but dude, you're putting your business in a lot of fucking risk. And you kind of just, blew me off. And down the road that comes into play. They had a detail bay, right? We're right on the water, and the drains are storm drains with the little fishies on, little dolphins on that say, don't dump in this fucking storm drain. Well, they didn't have the right, is it mediation, whatever it is, to
drainage,
drain it. Well, you're supposed to capture all the fluids, because technically, I think, from my understanding, you're not even allowed to like wash your car into the street in California.
No, it's complete.
So they were detailing cars into the fucking storm drains, and I was like, oh my fucking God.
That's what we call a SWIPS violation. And the city of San Diego actually got fined by the state.
Yeah.
That's a big no-no.
Well, and then think about like, you piss the wrong person off. Suddenly someone's like, hey, well, I'm going to be fucking squeaky wheel because fuck this place.
The Surf Rider Foundation would like to know where you're at.
Yeah.
They'd like a word with you.
So I don't know if you know building code at all. I learned a lot of building code from there, so they had, big sort of open concept, and there's, the sprinkler system, fire sprinklers, right? They decided they were kind of ugly, and they decided to paint all the pipes, which apparently was fine. But the landlord had come in. This is my first time meeting a landlord after trying to convince them to even pay rent and trying to actually work with the landlord. Like if I'm ever in a situation, business is tough, right? If I'm ever in a situation where I'm on hard times, I am letting the landlord know. I'm like, hey, how can we work this out? What can I do to make sure I'm not fucking you over and I'm not fucking myself over? And so I meet her, great woman. I think that's an exhaust.
I was going to say, I think that's a Tomei getting chopped off.
Yeah, it's a cutoff wheel going.
The Sawzall go burr.
We do have a shop back there. Shop things happen. The car things happen. It's part of being in motorsports here. So, she comes through and she has the fire, it's not from the fire department, but like a fire safety inspector or something like that. And they had painted over the fucking sprinkler heads in a huge building. Almost all of them.
Yeah,
so we're walking through. She's like, "Oh my God, I told them not to do this, and they fucking did this." And again, it's like not listening to reason, not listening to suggestions. Like, "Oh, I know fucking better. I'm gonna fucking do that because I want them to be painted. This place has to look." They fucking painted over them. So there is that. They had a couple times people's cars almost fell off the lift. They had one guy who I ended up meeting, and he initially stored a motorcycle. It was, I forget the name of the brand. It's this builder in Hollywood that builds like vintage BMWs for like Brad Pitt, right? They're fucking 6-figure motorcycles or $90,000 motorcycles, something stupid crazy like that. I could be wrong with the price. Anyway, some Brad Pitt level cost fucking motorcycle. So he had some moved in, and he's very specific, like, bring it in, detail it, cover it. This is my shit. Fucking take care of it. Well, not boyfriend. One of the other employees was also, a little, I don't know if he's lazy, ignorant, whatever it was. They just left this thing sitting out. Now, people would go in and out of the storage area, and they check out the cars and stuff and things like that. And it was open. It was dusty. It's a big open warehouse, which also would be another issue. Is they're moving cars inside, right? When do you need cars inside? And a nice cue is our ventilation system, which just went on, which you may or may not hear. We'll put noise canceling on this later. Part of working live. They had no ventilation in there other than the big roll-up doors. Technically, you're supposed to have, big exhaust
climate
fans.
Control. Good Lord.
Well, not even climate control, just exhaust fans. Because
Lord,
you're parking cars inside.
I was going to say, yeah, if you're gonna have 6-figure cars, good Lord. I mean,
it was a warehouse. You know what? It was an aesthetic thing, and people saw it and they were okay with it. Fine, they could put a cover on it. Some chose not to because they liked showing off their rides, and for the most part, people would, drive them here and there. So the cars are coming out. But they're having people move cars around inside without proper ventilation. Another fucking issue, right? So God forbid, but an employee ends up getting sick or something from inhaling fucking fumes and all the people in there. Now, don't get me wrong. I loved working in there. You smell an old car. There's nothing better than the way an old car smells.
Start huffing a Countach for 10 minutes, though. You're going to see stars.
So, funny you say that, because one of the things that the buddy of mine who came in as a consultant was doing, he was bringing in more night meets, right? So he's just trying to get people through the door. That's the whole game plan. Get people through the door, get them to scan QR codes, get them to get information. Because there was a lot of people coming in and out who weren't being pulled for information. You can't market to them. A lot of just things not happening that should have been happening. So they started having like really big meets there. Now, great for trying to pull in volume. Some of the old original members did not like it because like that was not the part of the car culture that they liked. They weren't night meet people, but it brought a lot of notoriety. They were getting huge meets there. And the draw of that, they're parking them all inside, rain or shine. So they would have like 20, 30 some odd cars in there, and the people would start revving them. There's people packed in there. And there was a couple times where I was like, I gotta go fuck. I was starting to feel sick, and people were starting to get dizzy in this fucking place.
Oh, God.
Being at the garage and just being pumped full of fumes and shit like that.
Straight piped ranch cameras.
Still week 3.
Still week 3.
It's fucking February, my man. So all this.
They had some solid social media pull then to gather these folks so quickly, and you guys were was doing what you were.
Yeah, the guy who did all that stuff connected, but he's fucking social media wizard. He's really connected in the industry, into different levels of motorsports. Knows a lot of people, so he can pull a crowd, no problem. That's totally fucking cake. So that was easy. You pull the crowd, and you have the employees go around and work the crowd. Now, half the time that wouldn't be the case. Everyone kind of just hang out. Great, right? We're not trying to keep business surviving here. That's not happening. So those are going on. There's mixed reactions to that. And, so that was another thing, was like not having the proper ventilation. So then there's all, the coding shit that was going on, which kind of led from the house and into all this stuff. So that's the other thing, right? So now we get into one morning, I still have my job. So I was getting up because I had to get up early as fuck to go work the day job in the morning to be done early enough to try and not be out till 2 a.m. trying to save this fucking place. So I wake up to a text one morning, and I showed you part of this text, and it just says declaration. And apparently what this owner had decided to do, technically hierarchy, he's my boss, right? And then I'm everyone else's boss. It's a professional relationship. We kind of a little bit mixed here and there because I knew too much about what was going on. And so it is a literal week by week, day by day breakdown of the affair from start to fucking finish. And it got fucking wild, my friend. It talked about the tattoos. It talked about the trips. It talked about the misappropriation of funds. It talked about all this shit. So I'm going to read some
excerpts. This is what I've been waiting for.
I'm going to read some excerpts. This may be a two-parter. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about it at the end. So I'm not going to go through everything. I'll give you kind of bits and pieces. The juiciest stuff. The stuff with the kids, like it's unfortunate. You need to hear me about that. So I get this one morning as a text message, and I mean, you can kind of see like how far this scrolls. This is what someone had decided to send me one morning. Now this is on my iPad, so it's bigger, but this is on my iPhone, and he sent me this from his iPhone, and he sent it to a few other people as well.
That looks like a Reddit thread from hell.
It might become one.
It's a green text if I've ever seen it.
So it starts off with her and the boyfriend, and he's just full fucking names in this shit. Just forming a close working relationship. Traveled with him to Miami, Portland, Seattle, Las Vegas, and in hope to grow the company. They were launching Cars and Coffee to create awareness for an app, but did not capture any significant data. Thousands of dollars were spent at hotels and first-class air travel, all while the business was losing money. She convinced me, and I'm speaking from Mason's point of view, she convinced me to stay home with the kids, run the business, and save our future. He put that in quotes. While she worked very late, many days per week, and came home drunk, and the evidence was obvious. A morning hangover. She picked up smoking cigarettes again and was careless with how the business clients and employees viewed her. Many suggesting, as I told you, we all had our suspicions, that a relationship was forming between Lana and Kiffin. But things got very serious and confusing in November of 2023. So yeah, this is February of 2024 that I'm there. This is the end of 2023, November 23. So now it goes into first week. The happy couple go to the SEMA convention, which we had discussed, where they come home with matching knuckle tattoos. This says they say head game. I think one of them said head game. The other one said risk more. We don't know for sure. I'm not trying to get that close to their hands.
Head game strong.
Head game strong. Many pictures of them drinking together and gambling. She extends her stay an extra night after SEMA's over. November, mid-month. She reports to me that she is unhappy over and over again. She told me she's living her biggest regret. What happens, right? You get into a loveless relationship and you get into marriage, you get kids involved. It's hard to, I wouldn't say escape, but you settle in. It's hard to make that leap, right? End of the day, we're all human beings. We all grow differently. Sometimes relationships last forever and sometimes they don't. She's completely justified in stating her issues to him. Now, is it right to go cheat? No. You gotta talk about that beforehand. Give someone who you've been married to and have kids with,
give them a shot,
a little bit of respect.
In a business, a failing business, but a business at that.
So then he talks about, he tries to do nice little things for her. He shows her photos of the kids to try and hit her emotions, which is really manipulative. She rarely comes home enough to see the kids, staying with the boyfriend most nights. They book a hotel at a really fucking expensive hotel downtown. Wild place. November 24th, 26th, they go to Portland to do some of the meetups we talked about. At that point, she asks if he would ever divorce her. He says he's fully committed because obviously he's stuck. Now we get into the juicy bits. So this is the part that is the most vulgar. I think I'd let you read a little bit of it.
Oh, at Blue Point, yes.
So December to January 22nd. December 1st, she tells me she has strong feelings for him. Out of fear of losing custody, he accepts and lets her pursue the relationship while they're still married, right? Because he doesn't want to lose custody. Okay, again, there's flawed logic all over the place here. It's flawed logic from the beginning. So he goes into, she asks him to let the boyfriend move in while he finds another apartment because, check this out, I forgot about this. The boyfriend, Kiffin, had a girlfriend at the time. So he was cheating on his girlfriend with the wife. And they broke up.
Even more scandalous.
Yeah. So, of course, the husband says, yes, you can move your boyfriend into my house. And they stay in the master bedroom. He goes, I guess, stays in the kids' rooms and separate rooms in the guest bedroom. But the boyfriend and the wife now get the master bedroom. And this is where it gets real fun. They have sex many evenings while me and the kids sleep in separate rooms. All bedrooms are upstairs. So everyone's upstairs while either he or she is railing the other one, which again must be apparent because he's hearing all this in his house. My God. So this tells you the mental state. This let me remind you people, I didn't ask for this. I'm trying to help someone else's business in an effort to try and create something viable, that opportunity. Then I get this one morning.
This poor man.
I do feel for him.
I feel for him.
I do feel for him.
Even through all his flaws, I do feel.
No, I do.
And I think vicious.
And I think that's why I was so I overlooked some of these issues and some of this stuff.
So many horrible red flags.
At this point, I still feel for the guy, right? Yeah. The only reason I'm telling this story is because I got fucked over and I got disrespected and I got absolutely shit upon by this person after I bent over backwards.
Done everything. Hundreds
of hours of time trying to save his fucking business. Only reason this is out there. Plus it's entertaining.
Extremely.
Oh God, where was I? Broke up with his girlfriend, sex many evenings. This is wild that this is even in here. So the next bullet, and these are all bullet points. Everything's bullet pointed. And I'm not going to go through this whole thing. It'll be a long fucking podcast. We're already 90 minutes in. In case you didn't know. It's maybe a two-parter. This line may go on a t-shirt. oil stains and evidence of anal sex, such as stained comforters and feces on the floor and wall. Now, this is followed up by something you think that's wild, right? Sex stains. We get it. It happens. If you're unprepared, if you don't know the process, and you're discovering different ways to please your partner, these things could happen.
Oh,
you clean up, you deal with it, and
of course, in your own bed, not of you doing
in your marital bed that you are now no longer a part of. But here's where it gets interesting. So the boyfriend starts wearing the husband's clothes.
No,
he continues to wear my clothes and mix his laundry up with mine.
Mix.
She then furnishes and helps him find an apartment. But rarely stays there, if all by himself or with her. She starts sending him photos of the boyfriend with the kids to try and make him jealous. And they continue to lie to him about how well the business is doing. So at this point, take him for his word. He didn't know how things were going on. So that's, again, back to why he got in my face. I was trying to tell him, like, hey, man, shit's fucked up. So apparently he didn't know. Then it just goes into the kids stuff, all these other things. I'm not going to get into all of that. It talks about like her history, not of my concern. The most entertaining thing is what I just told you. He goes into her family stuff, which is inappropriate for me to have.
I'm very glad he wanted to let the employees know about the evidence.
I don't know why.
Stainage in his home.
Kind of get it. And it goes into like dealing with the kids and texts and stuff like that. But, so that's what I get one morning from.
It's a hell of a thing
employer.
To wake up to.
I mean, it's interesting to say the least.
Certainly.
So, now we're getting into week 3 or 4. Again, pardon my timelines. I'm trying to keep everything on track. Again, this is still just 3 weeks into February that this all goes down. So at some point he tries to kidnap the kids and the cops get involved, and then he loses custody of the kids. Again, real fucked up that these kids are fucking involved in this thing. Two just selfish adults thinking about themselves. And it happens. I get it.
Glad he still has that 2-bedroom.
Yeah. Glad it's so high up.
That's right. At least he can see.
He's got a good view. Got a good view. So then another happy hour rolls around, and at this point we're kind of desperate. He wanted to disclose everything to everybody. Now this is the second time I told him. I also had to play PR because he's a little bit too open. And it's like, it's one thing with us, we're trying to save this thing. It's different when you're trying to tell literally everyone who's paying to be there what kind of a fucked up situation you're in.
Send that to all the members. Let's see if they renew next month.
Could you only imagine if he did a group text to everybody on the contact sheet? Oh my God. Luckily not, but he did want to disclose everything to everybody. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So what I did do in a last-ditch effort to try and salvage whatever possibility was there, because we have some smart people who I'm friends with there, who are also business owners, who are lawyers and entrepreneurs and things like that. So there was a core group of us that were kind of part of that initial meeting, and people that he already knew. So we had the happy hour, and I was like, okay, things are rolling, things are still going good. But I called up the core group to come up and talk. I'm like, hey, I got to talk to you guys. He wanted me to tell everybody, but I decided not to. I'm just going to tell you guys, like, this is where things are at. No one knew any of the details or anything. I didn't even go into the personal stuff. I was just going to the state of the business, right?
Just laid it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, at that point we're all drinking and stuff. And we're just kind of spitballing ideas. Like, well, what if we did this? What if we did that? There's one guy who was always a fucking realist. He's from New York. Bless him. He's harsh. Some people dislike him. I fucking love him because he's a harsh fucking New Yorker. He was like, no, this place is fucked. You're all fucked. You guys are stupid for doing this thing. So Nike girl had decided to walk in at that point and didn't hear the entire hour-long conversation of us trying to figure out what we can do and how to initialize what we were planning to do to try and like put a fucking Band-Aid on this gaping wound.
Slow the bleed, not stop. You can't stop. You can only slow.
Interrupt it, not even slowing it. So, you know, that all goes down. So I'm like, okay, you know, we go and have fun and drink some more. And, you know, the girlfriend takes me home and I come up the next day. And then all of a sudden, you know, all these meetings start happening around me. And I'm the CEO. I'm supposed to be knowing everything that's going on. And so there's more meetings with other people and new ideas going on, but I'm not, they're happening while I'm clocked in the other job. So I can't partake in them. And then they go call a meeting and I'm sitting there at the office, right? And I go like, I'm not staying here again until midnight, 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. Like, what the fuck is going on? So I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm leaving. So then I forget the chain of events, how I found out, but I guess she had went to the owner to try and say that I'd pulled this meeting to shit talk him, which wasn't the case. She was just trying to kiss his ass, right? She wanted me there. Me and her had kind of a good rapport. And I think hindsight, realized she had fucked up. Another adult crying on me. She realized she had fucked up, and then all this other shit. And there's all this other drama behind the scenes stuff that I'm not going to get into. I wasn't there a witness for it, you know? So then it continues on. Like, he doesn't talk to me directly. I keep hearing from other people all this other shit going on. And then one morning, I'm driving to my paying job, and so I'm like, fuck this. I'm just gonna call him. He doesn't have a backbone enough to ask me anything that went wrong. He's gonna assume what other people say or whatever happened there. And this is kind of where I found out everything, thinking about it now. But so he goes on a tirade on me over the phone. Can't do it in person, this fucking coward. Starts telling me I wasn't ready to ride the wave. And he uses a lot of cult terminology and shit. Like we're all riding this wave. The big wave is coming. The wave is coming. My kids had this dream. The wave is coming. All this money's coming. The wave is coming. So it's a fucking wave, right? So then he calls me thick-skulled. It was too much too soon, too big for my britches, all this kind of shit. Call me a fucking idiot, that I had no clue what I was doing. Granted, I was, you know, funneling the entire business as a $14 million company on my own by my fucking self. And completely fucking disrespected after being there for just about a month at this time to try and save this piece of shit's fucking business. Never been paid. And he goes and disrespects me over the fucking phone like a coward.
As he's getting super cucked.
Yeah. The Cuck-lective. So that happens. I fucking hang up on him. And I'm like, I got to cool down. I'm like, look, I get he's an emotional person. He's got fucking mental issues, these emotional issues. So I go to do my thing. And he texts me apologizing. I'm like, look, dude, I'm going to be back down. And there's 2 days a week I had to go up to my other job. I'll be back down. We'll talk about it in fucking person. And so I took him in the back. I'm like, look, you motherfucker. I've done so much for you I've never had in my entire life. I've had some shitty fucking bosses, right? I have never, ever in my entire life had another fucking adult talk to me the way he did. He starts crying. Starts fucking crying. Embraces me, starts crying into me fucking again, is apologizing. I'm like, oh my God. And then it goes in this whole thing like just hold tight. I'm gonna make it work. I just need to be me right now, and I need to figure this thing out. Blah 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 blah. And so he continues on with his stupid bullshit fucking ideas. And so
scheming.
A week later, I go file my LLC. Because at this point I learned kind of what works and what doesn't work. And I go, well, I can do this better than he can. I have a car, budget saved up. Fuck it. Because I had this brand in my mind for a while now, because I wanted to develop a motorsport brand that screamed to the enthusiast but was subtle to the new enthusiasts. As motorsport grows, there's, you know, more people from different backgrounds, more women who don't necessarily, you know, like the big body nature of motorsport, and they're kind of growing into it. So I was going to develop an apparel brand because my background's in apparel. Call it Camber Caster. If you know what Camber Caster is, it screams to you. If you don't know what it is, it's 2 fucking European designers' names. You can wear some really subtle ass shit to go have cocktails with your girlfriends. Go to fucking brunch in your Camber Caster gear. Represent your team. Look cool doing it. Which is still coming, by the way. So, you know, and I did a lot of fucking naysayers saying it's too much, too soon. And so I'm like, fuck this, I'm rolling with it. And so a week later I had my LLC. I start scouting locations. You know, I was like, okay, well, I know I can make this much money off of this much square footage in storage. I know it's going to cost me this, that, and the other. So I go through the whole process. And then, so that was February. So March 11th, the business is formally, formed, right? Is formed. April, I'm looking for places. May, I found this place. It was an old Domino's franchisee's office. So what you see now is not what I found. It was Domino's blue and beige. The only good thing they gave me was this red brick behind me over here. So still had the day job, coming in late nights, painting, putting in furniture, putting in lighting, making everything that all you see here. And we've made some improvements since then. But they're still going. You know, then I start to find out, you know, some other disturbing ass shit. That's when I found out about the mold and the leaks and, you know, all this stuff. And, you know, I'm not bitter to the extent that it didn't open my eyes to the opportunity to create this thing that we have now that thank you became a part of. Grateful for people like you and everyone who's supported so far and, you know, pitches in to grow our community and create something that I can create more of this and better things for all of us. You know, so I ended up coming out on top. You know, would have been great to have the $9,000 or so to put into this to go to some of the equipment I got. Fine, you know. But, you know, I came into this business seeing what someone who thought they were good at business was doing, which is bullshit, which is terrible, which was financial mistakes, legal mistakes, ethical mistakes. And I come from my background being in the fucking hood, being from the fucking street, and I hustled my way into this shit. And that's how I built this thing off of fucking very, very minimal. And when this thing works, I'm going to be the one writing books on how to fucking do this shit, how to live the American fucking dream and do what I'm doing. Not the bullshit scam people, not the bullshit manipulate people, not the bullshit rob fucking people. And mind you, put people's investments, we're all car enthusiasts, right? We don't love anything more than our fucking cars other than our families. And to have those investments in those people's prized possessions not properly taken care of, not insured, it was insane to me. So fuck that guy. Fuck all those people. And now it had continued on for a little bit, and they were trying to get some things done. You know, I kept, for whatever reason, everyone kept telling me what the fuck was going on there. Towards the end, they were starting to stiff the employees. They had... Well,
eventually the card would have to bounce, right? Yeah. Eventually you run out of credit.
Yeah, you know, pissing people off. At some point they had... While I was there and he was trying to unload his fleet, he had gotten an offer from somebody for like, I think in the realm of like $250K. I was like, take it. Go, take it. He's like, no, I can do it. It's ego, right? Fucking ego with nothing to back it. Right, false fucking ego. So then that goes away. And then the guy comes back and he wants to buy one of his Porsches and all this and the other. And he's like, well, I'll give you 150 for it. Knocks on denies that. Thinks he can still do it. He's the guy that ran this thing in the ground, can still do this fucking thing. And at some point they had, you know, wowed somebody with the space, found someone else who was, you know, looking for a fun project to invest in, and we're starting to funnel money into it. He was taking on investment debt from the personal debt from these people. And, you know, I think what I heard was like 90 $50,000, some shit like that, or whatever. I could be wrong. Again, this is all hearsay. At this point, this is all hearsay. This is what people are telling me. So who knows the accuracy of it? Who knows the legitimacy? But I do know that at some point they started to have issues where the city or OSHA or someone got involved in all the coding bullshit that was going on there, and that investor got cold feet and backed out. So then they're fucking desperation because there's really nothing left at that point. They'd sold the house. He was living in the two apartments. The couple were living together.
The 2 apartments gets me every time.
And you know, he still had people fucking supporting. Yeah, the 2 main employees were still there. The other ones were kind of coming and going. They held on. They did some interesting events. They did, you know, this date night thing where they brought in people's cars and did like a car date night deal. It was, they were trying. It was mostly the woman from Nike. That was her idea. She's like in that marketing side of things. But anyway, so those investors back out, and they ended up selling to another storage facility for $50,000, and now it's gone. Thank God it's fucking gone, because it was a matter of time. You know, the people who were storing their vehicles there did not deserve to be in that situation.
Have their vehicles treated so poorly.
Yeah. As far as I know,
6-figure cars. I mean, come on.
We touched on at some point, you know, maybe it was a different conversation about doing things right. And there's so much shady business going on, shady stuff like that. And someday people get their comeuppance. You know, he lost his business, he lost his family, so there's a little bit of that there. But you know, I think he still has one of the grenadiers. I don't know.
He's probably living in.
I stopped getting information. And yeah, so that was.
And that market has done notoriously well the last 6 months.
So, man, that's
really made a couple bucks.
That's a story.
Oh boy.
It's February.
20-odd days of the craziest month of your life.
30 days. Not even 30 days. So what would you think? I try not to hype it too much. I said it was gonna be interesting. What's your assessment of the situation that put me in the place I'm in today?
What a fascinating origin story.
Yeah.
Truly. I to hear it in its entirety, and I know it's still not even all of it, because we would be here for another hour and a half listing every side quest that they went on, but good Lord, it is all a fascinating yet cautionary tale of almost flying too close to the, you know, proverbial sun. And
yeah, I mean, timing is everything, you know.
Great intention, bad execution, and then also some of the most vicious cuckolding I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah, that became the running joke for a long time. And a lot of us still keep in touch.
Now you're trauma bonded.
I know some of us are. Some of them I've never even told the full story to, because it's one of those things you got to sit down and tell. And I try to be.
He was willing to tell everyone.
Oh man,
that's crazy.
Could you imagine? He's probably just sitting in that chair in the corner, looking at the empty bed, typing this thing out with his thumbs.
Bro, and that took so long. That is so.
Dude,
like that was probably an easy hour, 2 hours of just.
Man, it was wild.
Furiously typing.
It was wild. Like who the fuck? First off, looking at legalities, that's inappropriate workplace behavior. If I've ever.
Well, no, if you fire HR, it's fine. It's okay. If you fire the HR and accounting lady, you don't have to be accountable to anyone.
Yeah, man. You know, again, for all that chaos and all that nonsense, I appreciate it. It gave me the inspiration to come and do this. And, you know, everything happens for a reason. I started off looking at doing something similar, and then I said, fuck this. I love motorsports and racing. I'm going to turn it into this and focus on that. And now we're here. we're a little over a year after I started this thing. We're over a year. I mean, it hasn't been that long since this all happened either.
And you don't even pay $35,000 a month for this joint.
God, no. I try to give myself a chance, a fucking chance.
You don't even have.
Yeah.
Well, are you really a business if you don't have at least $100,000 a month in negative cash flow?
Well, hey, that's the beauty of starting your business is
you really missed that PPP loan fraud wave. You could.
Oh God, no fraud here. No fraud here.
No, it's an above board business at Camber and Caster.
Absolutely. I pay my taxes. I do everything right because I want this thing to survive. This isn't a fucking scam. I want to survive. I want to go race cars. I want us to go fucking race. Either the Sims or a real fucking race car. Anyway, thank you, Jake, for listening to this. It seems like you enjoyed it.
I've been waiting with bated breath for months and months.
Everybody else gets to listen, and I hope you all enjoy it. Leave us some comments, message us on the socials, comment on the podcast. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple. This video is going to be on YouTube. We'll probably throw in some extra visuals there. Give us a follow. Come in and visit us. Jake loves it here. Of course, I love it here. I fucking made it. And we hope to see you all here. And that was our special edition of Nocturnal Combustion. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, drivers. And I will see you in the normal studio next time.
Ciao.